Okay, so today I'm going to share with you guys my 2 cents on the technology what we call and know and love as blockchain, how it links to monetary system, bitcoins, Ethereum, decentralized finance, all that stuff that you've been hearing about more and more recently in the news, and to really understand the idea behind blockchain, how simple or how complicated it is, and what implications does it have for us in the future. So essentially what a blockchain means is as simple as a list, a public list that is shared with everyone in a community. And how we use this idea to create a more egalitarian, decentralized system of finance have been done in the history before, actually. In fact, we've seen it in societies as early as old pagan tribal societies in Papua New Guinea. And that they used this idea of proof of work, which is very important to understand the first generation cryptocurrencies. So think about a village in Papua New Guinea, and imagine that on the main square of the village there's essentially this giant chalkboard or a board where they write stuff, and they're essentially writing a public ledger of information. So what they're writing about there is a piece of stone that is carved so perfectly it is circular. And this stone is made out of a material like obsidian or something that is really strong to a point that it actually takes them many years to make this stone perfectly circular. So the moment that you as a society have these items which you know took so much effort to create, so much work, that is what we describe as proof of work. So now imagine having a list in the public markets in this village in Papua New Guinea where the owners of these stones are publicly being recorded, and the transactions of who gave these stones to who and who took away these stones from who, basically the transactions, are being publicly recorded and updated on a daily basis. So this is the first example of when we see a blockchain working as a financial tool. Because what happened was these people would have a total of maybe 20, 50, but no, not more than 100 of these stones, which they exchanged as a currency. And the reason why people like today's Federal Reserve Bank printing billions of dollars, the reason why they couldn't do that is because it took them months, maybe years, to make this stone, another carving of the stone from the mountain, where they had to climb there, they had to break that stone down, which took them so much effort, and then make another perfectly circular shape. So much that the ones that were already done as tokens, essentially, of tokens of work, imply that that was a value to be transferred. So I'm gonna link this to an interesting way that the Western nations, the white man, the British colonials, used when they arrived to Papua New Guinea. They came into the market of the village and they realized that, oh, these people are using these proof of work stones that they're carving from this specific mountain as a means of a public ledger currency. You know what they did? They came with their working tools and supplies and all the innovations that they have done in the West, and they went to the mountain and they started producing these same exact stones that the villagers were able to make within hours. So they did thousands and thousands of these stones, to a point by the time the villagers understood that the supply and demand relationship in their perfectly carved, beautiful stones that are being reserved as a value are the supply. The British basically increased the supply so much that they were able to buy the entire village out just by being able to carve these stones out of, just like they did. It just took them so much less work. So that is the first example of blockchain in the history. Essentially this idea of what I described to you that happened in Papua New Guinea back in the time is pretty much exactly how today's blockchain-driven cryptocurrencies work, where everyone has a public ledger and an access to the transactions that are happening. And since creating these digital tokens are very hard, they have the same value that these stones had, which is the proof of work. More on that later, but you guys should check it out.